So here we go into to our goal one. Goal one is that you can correctly identify points, lines, planes. So not just be able to know which ones they are, what they are. You probably already have a good idea on what they are, or a somewhat idea on them. But this goal is that you can name them correctly, because all throughout the year, your answers are going to be needing to be the same type of answers in the same form. So we're going to correctly go about the naming of points, lines, and planes. So that's our goal for today. So just some basic, we're going to say what a point, line, and plane is. So a point is just a small, actually, if you can kind of think of a cell, like it's a small point that doesn't have any, that you actually can't see. We signify a point with a dot. That's what we make as a point. And points are always named as a capital letter. So this could be point C. So we would name it point C, or just C is fine. So the only time we should have one single letter is if we're naming a point. A line actually goes on, it's a straight, goes on and on in 2 points, and goes on and on in both directions indefinitely. That's an actual line. When we think line, a lot of times we think of like this, and that's a line segment. And through any 2 points, we can draw exactly one line. So we name a line by either naming the 2 of the points on there. And then we draw a short little line underneath there. If it's a line, it should have arrows on both ends. Or we write out line, and we have, sometimes they'll have like a cursive letter at the end. So then this would be line S. So either way, you can name 2 points on there or line S, but only 2 points. It can be any 2 points, but it has to be 2 points on that line. And then a plane, you can think of a plane as kind of like a sheet of paper in our sense of it, but it is through any 3 points that aren't collinear, so in the same line, there makes a plane. Can you think of like with a piece of paper, it will go on, it can set on 3 points. So a plane is named by 3 points that are not collinear. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about this. This is kind of definition, but plane actually goes on in all directions. So we can't ever really draw a plane, but we can draw something that represents a plane. So collinear means co is with the same line. So the ones that are all in the same line is called collinear, and coplanar means with the same plane. So points that are coplanar are all in the same plane. Intersection is where things meet. So 2 lines always meet in a point. 2 planes always meet in a line. It's hard to draw where these are meeting, crossing. But where they cross is a line. You can kind of think of the corner of a classroom, or where 2 walls meet. That always makes a line where they meet. All right, so we are going to look again. Point is always named by a capital letter, and it's the only time you should have a single letter by itself. A line is named by 2 points on it with an arrow on both sides, a line over top, or the word line and the 2 points, or the word line and the little cursive letter at the end. A plane is 3 points that are not collinear, so not in the same line, so we can name it, and we have to have the word plane because 3 points also make a triangle, so we want to define which one we're doing. So you can either name it plane K with that cursive K in the corner, plane BCD, plane CDB, any 3 points that are not collinear. So we want to name a line containing point K. So K is here, and here's this line, so I could name it JK with a line over top, KL, the line over top, JL, the line over top, line A. So there's actually many ways I could name this line. The reason we do line or naming is because then you know exactly we are all talking about this same line. If we don't use the same naming ways, then we could all be trying to say this line but say not have any idea what the other one's saying. Use the figure to name a plane. So plane, you can either use this big capital cursive B, so plane B works, plane, and then or 3 points that are not collinear. So I wouldn't want to name these 3 points, but I could use M and 2 of those points. So JKM, plane JLM, and so forth. Right. So I would try these and then go back and check them and make sure that you've got an understanding of it. If not, you can always rewind and check things out again. But this would be line C. This would be plane P works. So then here we're looking at what are some shapes that this would represent. Point, line, or plane. A patio would be a good representation of a plane. So it's that square rectangular shape. A button on a table, so you have your table with a button on it, that's a point. So again, you can look at these and see if you think the same thing. These are in your notes, so make sure you're following along, make sure we've got it. So next we're going to look at trying to label or draw what they have us here. So we want to draw a plane R, so plane R, and it contains line AB, so I'm going to draw 2 lines. One has A and B on it, lines have arrows on the end, and DE. So 2 lines, they intersect, so they cross at point P, and point C on plane R, so that it is not collinear, so I need a point C somewhere that's not on those 2 lines. So that would be a good drawing of it. So this is just making sure we understand it by being able to draw it. So can we look at it and find the lines, and then can we draw it? Right, we can also look at them on a coordinate plane, and that's here. We use the coordinate plane quite a bit in geometry because it's a good way to make sure we have straight lines and draw it exactly the way they want it. So Q is at -2, +4, so there's Q, and R is at +4, -4. And that's a line going through those 2 points. And then we want to add T so it is collinear with these points, so we could put T anywhere on that line as long as it's collinear, so with the same line. Right, so try this one, and then again, if you have questions, it is, let me know. And this one too. All right, so planes, remember, is 3 points that are non-collinear. So we have this plane S that we can see right there in the blue, but I could also have a plane that sits on these lines because those lines are kind of sticking up. So there is, those 3 points are not collinear. So there's one plane and plus the plane that's drawn. So there's 2 planes in this figure. 3 points that are collinear would be A, B, C, A, B, D would be collinear because those are sticking through it. Points A, B, and D. Our points A, B, C, and D coplanar. Coplanar means I could set a piece of paper that would touch all of those, and yes, they are. So that would be coplanar because they are all in the same plane ABC. At what points does DB and CA intersect? So line DB and CA cross at point A. Planes in here, you have this blue plane, and then you have this plane that is kind of sticking up on it. So two planes. And then go ahead and look through those, see if you get the same answers. So this is just naming. It's kind of simple, but it is very, very important in the throughout this book. We'll use this all the time. So very, very important lesson. If you have questions, let me know.